just hit the. Okay, Guy, we're going to put you in the hot seat because we want to power through this for the next 50 minutes. What is self-awareness? There's no right or wrong answer.
Knowing who you are at your core. Knowing what values you have, what what attributes you hold.
Okay, perfect. Who else wants to talk about self-awareness?
I've got one. Thinking about what you're thinking about.
Ooh, thinking about what you're thinking about. So, do you think about what you're thinking about?
Yeah, because so many times, like if you don't do that, then your mind just goes crazy, and then next thing you know, you're talking negative to yourself, or you're doing something stupid. So just being aware continually of what's going through your mind all the time.
And you're absolutely right. And when we have self-awareness, we're going to dig a little bit deeper. So let's get a few more ideas. Janet, on Martha's Vineyard, good morning. What's self-awareness to you? How's the vineyard?
Amazingly, and I'm from the South, everyone here is complaining about the heat. And I'm like, no, really, guys, this is rest. You have no idea about heat and humidity. I think self-awareness for me is the ability to look at myself from as if I were someone looking at me. So it's sort of seeing what I am out to the world.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Ashley.
I think it's knowing your capacity, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your weaknesses are. I think my mom said this to me over the weekend, that my grandpa used to say that your greatest strength is knowing your greatest weakness. And I was like, wow. I know a lot of my weaknesses. I don't know that I know my worst one, or my biggest one, but I think knowing who you are, knowing your core being of what you're good at and what you're not, is one of the highest forms of self-awareness, because you're not lying to yourself, you're not lying to anybody else, and and you're honest about what you can and can't do. And instead of just saying yes to everything or trying to be something you're not in any situation, personal or work or anything, it's really knowing your core and what you are willing to do and not, and setting good boundaries for yourself.
Lots of boundaries, lots of great things there. So I looked it up, and self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. It involves being conscious of how these elements affect oneself and others, and having others, and having a clear perception of one's strengths, which we've heard, weaknesses. Okay, Ash, you're right on it, and so is everybody else. Values and emotions. So when we're clearing things out, and when we're trying to grow, because we're always trying to grow, right? Isn't that part of this? Why we all get together, why we go to events, why we do things, why we reflect. It's because we're really trying to grow. And so when you have self-awareness, what's the importance of, well, let's look at work-life balance, because that's all what we're here to do, right? It's kind of like the wheel of life when you look at all the different areas of where you are. So if you are looking at the wheel of life, which is a circle, and you've got work-life balance, health, faith, things like that.
Forget about it.
Let's talk about how important it is. What's it like?
I was going to add something a second ago after Ashley talked in, and it was something that somebody told me long time ago, is you never know how much you can hold capacity wise in your balance, whether it be work, whether it be family, until you've overloaded it.
Mhm.
And it's how you deal with it. So if you've overloaded, how do you pull back and you fix everything in that balance? And to me, I do that way too often, and I'm doing that right now. And I need to pull back on a few things, and I need to figure out where I'm going to pull back and how, because it does affect you.
It absolutely does. So that kind of goes back to Stacy on what we were talking about, using that hold button, releasing the hold button. What are the things you need to release in your life? So when you look at self-awareness, and I appreciate you sharing that, how does it help us in, let's just talk about our relationship with our family? Because we go, 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 go. A lot of us are A-type personalities. We're that, Tasmanian devil. Well, at least I am. I won't speak for you guys. That Tasmanian devil that just goes flying through. And I don't have a self-awareness of myself, nor do I have a self-awareness of what's happening around me. I've got a mission, vision, and goal. And it's like, bam, I'm just going to come through, and what's ever in my way, look out, and we'll figure it out later. Is that a good thing or a bad thing when you're focused? Look at Ash.
I think
Go
it
ahead.
depends. I think it depends on the people you're with. I think that's part of self-awareness is you have to know if those people that you're with and being the Tasmanian devil are capable of handling you in that way.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes I'm better at it than not with you and with other people that are like you, because I'm not that pace. I'm not the flyby and through and focused and, go, 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 go. That's not my pace. And so sometimes I'm great at it. And other times I want to strangle people because that's not where I'm at, that my capacity is not there for that. So I think it just depends on the situation and who is, around you and how they're perceiving that in that moment. And I think that's part of self-awareness too, is like knowing that those people are in a different place at different times, being able to pick up on where they're at in that moment of this isn't the right way for me to present myself in this moment, because they're not in the right frame of mind for it. They can't handle it. They're overloaded right now. So I need to draw back and I need to, meet them where they're at, because no one's always in the same constant state of being. So, yeah.
So it's interesting.
I'm sorry, Peggy, it was somebody that what Ashley just said is so true. It happened to me, but that requires a lot of patience too, right?
Yeah.
Because then you have to kind of draw back. Like Peggy, I can imagine how hard it would be to do that because you're go, go, go super fast, to consider the others who are not at that pace to then pull back. And I had a similar experience at an office where the other girls weren't at my pace and they were all saying, well, you're making us look bad because you're making us look like we don't work hard enough, fast enough. So I had that mission vision. Is it that I love that we just said, Peggy, I'm going to use that, the mission vision thing, just get it done at as fast as speed. And I wasn't considerate. And I thought about it over and over. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not being a team player. I'm being more like, look at me, I can get it done fast. But so I had to draw back, and it took patience. So I think we have to be patient as well, right? It's crazy.
I'm glad, thank you. And I'm glad you're bringing up the word patience, because let's just step back. I don't know how many people were at Keller Williams, but there's a few of us, and I've learned, great company, learned so much from Keller Williams. And that's where I learned about the DISC assessment and all the personality types. And I found it frustrating that they would take my personality to have me be the CEO team leader of an office, run, go, 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 go. And then my right-hand person was like Ashley, as the market center administrator person, who needs to take her time, needs to look at the numbers. And I couldn't figure out, well, why? I mean, I'm up here running the office. This person's here. My front desk is somewhere else. And having to be the one that had to meet people in the middle sometimes. That's frustrating. That's hard. So when I was with my friend Fabiola, and she was also negotiating a deal over the past 2 days. I had no idea, that she was going to be negotiating a deal. And it was great because I knew I had this topic on self-awareness. And she was so calm and aware of her clients' needs. So as realtors, we want to get the job done, right? We want to push through it. We think we know all the answers. We've got the mortgage person, the inspection people, all of that lined up, and we just want to get to the finish line. So let's talk just a little bit more about how can self-awareness, if you don't have self-awareness, lead to burnout? How can it affect everything else, our family? How many of you feel burnt out sometimes because you keep go, 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 and go? Guy, you're raising your hand over there.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think there's times in this business when we get, multiple buyers, sellers, whatever, and that's all we focus on, and it's very and it's very easy to get that burnt out feeling after you realize, you've pretty much worked 20 days in a row or whatever it is, it might not always be for too many hours in a day, but there's not, we go through long stretches where we don't take a full day or a full weekend for ourselves, and that burnout factor can definitely catch up.
Exactly. And it's like you're reading what I have here in my notes about self-awareness is so many different things. And self-awareness of when you're burning out is so important. And the lack of self-awareness, man, it can mess you up on your projects. It can mess you up with your family life. You need to take a step back and be able to be strong enough and say, wow, I'm doing too much. And, how's it affecting the people? Am I really doing a thorough job here? When we want to be the best version of ourselves, and gosh, when I teach this and participate with this with you guys, I learned so much from all of you as well. It's because we get frustrated, and frustration shows up in many, many ways. It's going to show up in a subpar work environment. It's going to show up in a lack of career growth, a lack of maybe repeat business or referrals with other people, a lack of getting into rapport with agents. Think about how you do your co-brokes on the other side. Are you being self-aware on how they need to have a relationship with you? What's their style of communication? We all want to level up and be better for the second half of this year, and especially going into 2025. And we all are talking about all the changes that NAR is making. Well, we've all got our own different opinions about that, right? I think it's going to be this way. You think it's going to be that way. Our company thinks it's going to be another way. Our clients think, I don't have to pay you. Bye, Sarah. Our clients think, I'm not going to have to pay you. So going into this new change, how can you be really self-aware? Because I wanted to work with you guys on being prepared, showing up as the best agents that we can, because there's so much chaos spinning around NAR. We all think we have the answer. We all think we have the right form. Sarah, I don't know if you ever got those forms narrowed down, but when I was with you, oh my gosh, you asked me to read over your forms for the Kentucky board. I was blown away at how there were so many different opinions of professional people. And how do you make a decision on which forms are going to be right? Do you have 2 seconds to jump in on that, Sarah?
Yeah. So that's probably part of what my local board meeting is about today. And then we have a dinner tonight with I have a dinner tonight with our state leadership from our Kentucky Association. So we're still working on it, and I'm so thrilled.
Whoops, you muted yourself, hon.
Can you
Proud to
speak
be in
closer
the
to your mic?
How about this?
It's a little better.
Yep.
Okay.
Not much.
So I'm proud to be at EXP
You keep mute. I don't know why you keep getting muted, Sarah.
about now.
Nope.
Okay. I don't want to
Okay.
have to call Dwayne in for technology.
Well, he's left, but in any event, we're working through those things. And what I was going to say is I'm just proud to be at EXP because they've already told us that they've got a listing contract coming and they have a compensation agreement coming. And those were the main two forms that we had been wrestling with here at our local agency or our local board. So I'm just, it just makes me proud that we're so forward thinking.
I love that. And Sarah, your self-awareness as a leader in the Kentucky board, the role that you're playing, running for a position and all that, you have to have really defined. You've got to know yourself really well because you're talking to so many different people. Your self-awareness has got to be at a heightened level. And I think as leaders, when we have self-awareness, we've got to be aware that sometimes we have to take a step back and be able to listen to other people's opinions. Right, guys? Especially in the leadership roles, especially when we're showing up at meetings. And I mean, obviously we have to do that with family and friends, but we're talking on a professional level now. And we all want to be able to support each other because this is so important because poor communication starts with lack of self-awareness of what's going on. So with the poor communication, what does it do to us and others? Does it create stress?
I think people get frustrated. Is that, Tucker, is that mic level better?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. My high-tech redneck left and, I had to do things myself.
Is he driving my bulldozer without me?
Probably. Yeah, we're going to have to call you back in to work because we got that big job. So, but in any event, when you have trouble communicating your ideas, your thoughts, your solutions to other people, they do get frustrated if you can't communicate it clearly and concisely. I mean, referring back to the disc, I'm a high I, high D. I like for people to get to the chase. I don't want you to tell me 3 stories to tell me what the subject is, what the message is you're trying to. So I think part of self-awareness, circling back to that, is just reading your room. Just like Ashley said, reading your room, knowing who you're with, who needs to hear what you have to say, and adjusting yourself that way.
Perfect. Thank you. Who else wants to jump in before I add something else to it? We got some great people on this call. Let's see. Hi, Brad. Good morning, Brad. Love me some Brad. He's always good. Brad, come down to the stage. We work on self-awareness. That's part of the things we coach on. So I don't know, Brad, what's your opinion on self-awareness and how's this shown up with you?
Might take me a while to unpack that. I think being able to take a step back, for myself at least, and it's definitely something I'm still working on, but like you said before, like we get caught up, I get caught up in working a lot. Sometimes feel like I'm kind of spinning my tires, like I should be working, but it's the evening and I should also be with my kids, or whatever iterations that however that can look. There's a lot of that where I remember Jim Rohn saying, when you're at work, when you're at play, don't mix the two. But I've been mixing the two.
Well,
so like if I'm with my kids at the park or something, I'm thinking, well, shit, I should be, I don't know, doing some work of some kind, making some phone calls or doing some work. But then when I'm working, I'm like, well, shoot, I should be taking some time for my kids, my family, or we should be doing stuff. So that's shows up quite a bit for me.
But that's life. That's the balance that we're trying to
I agree.
that we're all trying to work on is where do we find that balance? That's where it really comes down to. It's so simple, self-awareness. We say it's so simple, yet we make it really complicated. And as we're looking at going into, okay, what are our priorities? We have a little bit of summer left. A lot of people's kids, before you know it, are going to be going back to school. What are some of the things you need to be aware of? What on self-awareness, when was the last time you checked your profit and loss statement? When was the last time you checked your bank account? What about your credit score? Do you know what upcoming bills you have? So when you're looking at the scope of self-awareness, it also flows over to not hiding from other things, to not being afraid to open up that letter that might say IRS on it, to not be able to sit down and have a conversation with your significant other about vacations you can or cannot take, or bills that you have upcoming. So I'm not trying to cloud this, but I'm trying to show you reality. What did you say?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Okay. So, all right. So what we're doing on this call and what we're doing is releasing. We're building our goals. We're heading things face on. We're looking at our profit. We've got our goals in our pocket. And now we're going to sprinkle in our emotional intelligence. So who wants to tell me what their definition of emotional intelligence is? Because we're going to see how these things can work together and how they can kind of pull things apart.
I think emotional intelligence is being aware. I mean, I love what you said, Brad, but I also don't always agree with that. Leave this here and leave this there, because you have to be aware. And if something comes to your mind that isn't appropriate in the moment, then you can use your phone, your text a memo to yourself or a reminder so you can address it later. Otherwise, it's going to keep, in your mind while you're watching your kids play ball or whatever their ages are. My kids are older, so I don't get the joy of doing that anymore. But it used to be a struggle, when the market was crazy in late 90s, early 2000, the kids were little and were writing offers at midnight and on the hood of a car. So it's our world doesn't stop because it's time to pick up the kids from school. Our world doesn't stop because we have to go to the doctor. So you have to always be aware, but that's the beauty of our world, is that it doesn't stop unless we want it to stop. So take in the moment, think of your priorities for the day. And I do not like routine, but I'm forcing myself to put appointments on my calendar for not just affirmations and gratitudes, but writing the notes and then working on my business so that I don't lose that. And it doesn't always happen, but at least it's on my calendar. So self-awareness to me is being in the moment, yet recognizing the distractions and dealing with them.
Perfectly said. So the calendar thing is huge. I hate a calendar. Ashley lives and dies by a calendar. She has been trying for over 10 years to get me to work from a calendar. Yeah, that's a whole nother. I'm self-aware that I'm
going to throw this out there. I don't know that I've ever, said this, but like, I hate routine too. I'm really bad at routine. I do nothing the same way at 2 days in a row. So although I am beholden to a calendar, it can be different every day, Peg. It doesn't have to be the same exact calendar every single day. I'm not trying to force you into a routine. I'm just saying there's some value in the accountability of a calendar in general. So it can be Okay, that's all I'm saying.
And this is where I love you guys, because we all can be vulnerable, and Ashley can call my shit out here. It's life with her and I. That's one of the reasons why I think she's in my life. So a calendar, I'm just going to share this, and I'm going to go real quick back to emotional intelligence. A calendar, I just don't like it. Like I go into whatever. So I found, let's see, can you see this? No, you can't. It's a steno pad. It's like $3. It's got my daily plan on it. It's got affirmations, priorities, to-do list, and a schedule. I filled this out last week when I first got it. I was blown away on how much I got accomplished.
Yeah.
But Janet's smiling. Because it's not that calendar where I have to, and you get to write the date in it, and you get to be controlling of it, of what you want there. So even though it's just a word calendar, I'm having to be self-aware that I have a trigger. So what can I do that is going to replace the word calendar to get me to work in some sort of fashion of, I can get things done. So anyways, that just want to tell you guys about that. It's just daily planner with affirmation, with gratitude, and it's like I said, $5 on Amazon. So let's go back to emotional intelligence, and I want to be mindful of time. The definition that I found of emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, understand, manage, and use emotions in a positive way to communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflicts. I never have conflicts. What about you guys? I mean, it's like,
I think the key word there is manage. I think managing your response to other people's and managing your response to your own emotions are whether you are intelligent or not in that, that vein. If you can't manage your own emotions, how are you ever going to manage or respond to other people's? And if you can't identify other people's emotions, I think that's what's hard for people on the spectrum, is that they are not emotionally intelligent because they don't pick up on those cues. They can't read the body language. They can't, pick up on that energy. And so it's a struggle for them to be emotionally intelligent and aware of what's going on around them. They don't even know their own, emotional cues. So I think managing the emotions internally and externally is where that intelligence part comes in.
So when I was, poking around at this and doing my prep work for this, I was talking over the weekend about emotional intelligence with a relative that was visiting, and there could be their lack of or not understanding. So I said, okay, I'm going to find out what it really means, because we throw words around and we really don't know what they mean, guys. I mean, let's face it, we've got all these buzzwords. So this was pretty interesting because I had already decided on the self-awareness topic. Some of the components of emotional intelligence, self-awareness was right at the top. Self-regulation, that scared me. Managing one's emotions in a healthy ways, adapting to change in circumstances. Then another component of it is motivation, being driven to achieve for the sake of accomplishment. And then here's a word we sometimes throw around, and we get, we interchange it and we don't really know the difference sometimes, and we should, it's empathy. And sometimes we use the word empathy for sympathy and vice versa. But when you're really drilling down on emotional intelligence, empathy, understanding emotions of others, and that's key. I think that is really key to having relationship. And then, this is interesting, social skills. What's acceptable? What's not acceptable in social skills? What I have for boundaries and acceptabilities of social skills may something totally different than each and every one of you have here. So looking at the emotional intelligence, what do you think the differences are between emotional intelligence and self-awareness?
You know, Peggy, I think you really touched on the management, and we have to manage ourselves and how we do things. And before I talk to the intelligence side of this, I want to talk to the emotional side of this, because Brad, I'm going to talk to you because you're struggling with that family side and that work side, and how do you divide the two? And I'm going to tell you, from a single mom of 5 children going through this business, the reason why I stayed in this business is because I could balance my family life and my business life. And I could sit at the park and I could do a few things, either writing things down or, just thoughts. And you've got your kids there. You may be at the soccer game, or you may be at a swimming match, whatever it might be. But you are balancing the two, even though you don't have a clear-cut division of, you're here at work and you can't be with family, and here you're with family and you can't be at work. I say you go back to the drawing board and you look at this entirely different way, because you can do both. And I know 5 years on my own before I got remarried, and I had 2 very small young children. I did both because I had to do both. So,
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
That's, and Brad, I go to Brad a lot because we have a relationship in coaching, and I know that he is always, like, later on he'll say, thank you for pushing me. And, he's never sent me a text or called me saying, don't ever call me again. So, being on these calls with you guys for 2 years is, we get to know each other. And I appreciate the fact that you allow me sometimes to, like, just jump in and push you. And you have permission to do it to me as well. Right, Ash? Mm-hmm. So some of the differences on this is that emotional intelligence is broader than, I don't know, the self-awareness. It encompasses a lot more. So it is more of taking multiple skills, so to speak. And I'm just throwing this out there, guys. I'm not, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just doing the research and trying to deliver it back to you and helping for some interpretation on this. So let me look at my notes. So emotional intelligence is broader, encompassing multiple skills related to emotions and relationships. While self-awareness is a component, it's focused specifically on understanding one's self. And I truly believe that in order to move forward, we got to get to know us. We got to get comfortable with us. We got to be able to have everything torn down, ripped apart, looked at inside out, upside down, and backwards, because it goes back to stories. What are the stories that we're telling ourselves? The stories that we're telling ourselves can affect our self-confidence, affect our business, affect so many different things. Our what's the word I want? Interpersonal skills, are the empathy that we have for others. Do we have empathy for ourselves? Have you stopped to give yourself permission and grace to say, I need to take a step back and I need to have some empathy for myself. I need to look and see what's really going on. I have to stop beating myself up. So when we do this, you have this self-understanding and awareness. And like I said, I'm on this journey with Deanne, and what is showing up is so emotional. There was a saying for those of us who went to KW, and again, like I said, I've learned so much from them, in a course called Bold. You need to break down to break through. And I'm asking everyone on this call, And I'm going to keep asking this question for the rest of the year because I want you guys to become the best version of yourselves. That's my goal for the end of the year. That's my wish for all of you. So are you willing to break down and do the work to come out on the other side? What are you telling yourself? What are some of the stories? How hard is it for us? Because that is the only way. I don't think we're ever going to master emotional intelligence or master self-awareness. My goal is to become more aware of what self-awareness is and how it impacts others in my life so I can be a better person. I don't know, is this making sense or am I just kind of talking?
This is making a lot of sense, Peggy, because just recently, when my daughter was much younger, I like did was give to everyone, give, and little to myself. And I realized just recently that when I give to myself, be aware of what I need first. I'm a better mom, better wife, better partner, better everything. Including whatever it is. It could just be a specialty that you need to work out. My thing is I need to work out in the mornings. It makes me a better person all around. And so when I recently heard something that Tanya shared, and the lady, the coach gave a wonderful speech, but at the end she ended with, you need you. We got to remember that you need you. And that made me cry. For some reason, I heard her whole speech, but those 3 words made me cry because I finally found I was self-aware. I became self-aware of my needs. I share a lot of what Brad is going through, but now I am becoming more aware. And this is a wonderful class today because it speaks about that. And I'm just realizing this whole thing now after many years. So take care of
Thank you.
yourself.
You have to take care of yourself. And now I'm going to go to real quick. I'm going to go to just a little different extreme on this. What are the negative? Are there any negatives or downsides to self-awareness?
Yes. And right now I'm having to look at my relationship with my husband because of where I need to be in my career and what I need to be doing right now. And he's in the real estate industry as well. So this downturn is a downturn for both of us. So we are struggling and we spend a lot of time in our offices. We don't have kids at home anymore. So it's so easy for us to get caught up into our own careers and our own world and not be self-aware of our relationship and how we treat each other, how we spend time together. And that right now is something we have to do together. It can't
Right.
be just me looking at that self-awareness. We have to do that together.
So, and I appreciate you saying that, Stacy, but I also want to caution you on something. Self-awareness is also being aware that you might be a little bit further down your journey, down your path,
Right,
and the other person may not be there yet.
right.
And if we push them and want them to get there, that could backfire.
Yep.
So I invite you to kind of like have a balance or be self-aware of somebody else's feelings on that. So
No, that's understandable, and it comes down to not. I mean, our relationship is fine when
Mhm.
we're in the same industry together. It's the finances and what we're doing with the finances that we set aside a year's worth of money, and we're about out of that. And so it's having those hard conversations together because there are some parts of your life that you do have to do things together in sync with somebody else, and you can't be so far out there that you forget about the other person in your life, that you have
right.
to include them on certain decisions. So it's not just self-awareness. I understand that, but you also have a relationship, and it's self-awareness in the relationship that you both have to come together.
100%. And I would like to see if you could reframe it. And some of you have heard me say this before in our one-on-ones, is do I have your permission? Can
Yeah.
we talk about this? And how, because capacity is huge. And I want to get everything out just like a machine gun. There are different people that process things in a different way. So I invite you, Stacy, to find out what's the capacity. What are chunking it down or chunking it up? What's the capacity that your husband is able to take in one set seating? Let's ask permission to go there, and then when can you readjust it again? So I just want to give you some downsides to to self-awareness. Excessive self-awareness can lead to us overthinking, self-criticism, feeling inadequate, depression. If we focus on our flaws. So this is an exercise in knowing who we are, but yet not going down that rabbit hole where we're going to get all depressed and all that. We don't, I'm asking you to try. No, I don't use the word try. Sorry. I'm asking you to look at some of the things you're capable of doing and where this might trigger you.
Unknown caller.
And my phone never goes off. Sorry about that, especially at 10:07 in the morning. So I want to make sure that when you're doing this, being perceived by others, we don't want to come in as that we're overconfident and that we're cocky. Okay. That can be an extreme on that. We talked just a little bit about how self-awareness can affect our mental health. Our mental health can affect our family and friends and other people around us. And, cautious. We want to be very cautious, but not overly cautious. And going through your stuff, we don't want you to stop and say, okay, I can't be spontaneous. I've got to slow this down. I've got to slow this down. We're looking for a balance here because there are so many positive things that come along with this. It's going to open up conversations for you, Stacy. I know it opens up conversations with Brad. It opens up conversations with me. People who are self-aware are better at understanding things and empathizing with other people. And that's what you're trying to do, Stacy. You do a lot of these groups. You've been to our retreat. You work on yourself, and that's where I invite people to look at where the other person that they're having the conversation is. And do we want it more than they do? And be self-aware of when you have to stop talking. That is my biggest thing. If I want to get a point across, I just bump. I'll freaking sit up with you and pound it into you all night long. It's not good because people shut down. So what are y'all thinking right now? Been a big subject, huh?
We should mute you.
So what triggers has this brought up?
I just got into, first it was an argument, then it was a conversation last night with Aaron, because I am so hyper independent. And so my self-awareness goes completely out the window when I'm trying to get something done, and I just do it myself. And I don't think about how it affects him or, what his feelings are about it. And what I typically do is I tell myself I'm mitigating stress for him or anxiety or worry by just doing something so that he doesn't have to. And then I end up still hurting his feelings because it happens to be the one thing he did want to, weigh in on, or he did want to do, or whatever. And so that is the hardest thing for me, is balancing my self-awareness and emotional intelligence and managing his emotions, because I don't rely on anyone. I don't like asking for help. I don't like, having to wait on other people and will they or won't they show up for me, that kind of thing. And so I tell myself I'm just removing that issue for myself, but then I'm causing issues for other people, because I'm not, including them or, taking into account their feelings on the situation. So it's a really hard thing to not be selfish, but then to also still have self-respect or boundaries and to not let people take advantage of you or, I think that's a constant moving target to, be respectful of others, but also be respectful of yourself, because there's no point in being aware of everything and being self-aware if you don't have any self-respect.
Oh, huge. And Ashley, I mean, you and Aaron have been together for how long?
16 years.
16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you guys. I stay with you guys. I know the ins and outs. And now there's going to be a baby girl.
Oh yeah. That was that was the epiphany last night.
Yeah. Why did I know that?
Yeah.
So yeah. I love that you're so honest with us. I really love it. Who else is does this trigger anybody? Is it like bringing up stuff?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Aggie, when you talk about emotional intelligence, I couldn't help but thought of one thing. Let me say, we as realtors, we try to do the best to serve people, right? And we are also an easy profession where somebody say, hey, I'll just try you out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And most people would just like, you work so hard and, the thing gets so and we get paid. But some people just thought that you are so cheap. You come around, you help them out, and if it doesn't work out, so sorry, they move on. But there are some people, I don't know about you, I've been in business for 24 years. There are a few clients I can just tell you, it has a little hook on my heart, meaning that they were clients, but then for some reason they walk out on us. I have a home which is a block away from us. During the COVID, it was one of the most difficult time to sell, right? It's a Hispanic home, older home. She was a divorcee, a single mom, very busy. I done so much work for her. Right about, I don't know, about a month or two later, could not get sold. She canceled the contract with me. And she got another gentleman. I suspect they might be in a relationship. This is my suspicion, I never know. And she just complained, called the broker. Broker did not give me any chance, just cancel the thing and sold the property. The only thing I could do to her is say, Connie, I done my very best. The home that you sold, I would never sold for the price. If I had done that, I would have closed a deal. You don't wait for that long. But the problem is every time I walk by the house, I take my daughter and my wife, we take a walk after dinner, always had the pain. So what I do is I take a note card, just basically say, Connie, it was good to meet you. Whatever happened, I hold this grudge against you. Please forgive me. And I send that. And I've been doing that quite a bit for some client. A few people just walk out on me and just betray me and took me for granted. Similar thing happened like about 5 or 6 times throughout my whole career. So this is something I felt like a burden I've been carrying. So for me to have a healthy emotionally, I like to unload all those kind of burden, those kind of how in the book of Hebrew talk about all the weight that we are holding onto, make it so hard.
Yeah, that's an awesome way to release that. To not, to own it and then to release it and let it go and not let it affect all of your other clients and the relationships and the value that you're bringing with them.
We've all had that happen. I woke up one morning and looked out my kitchen window. My neighbor, my good friend, had a for sale sign on the front lawn, and it wasn't mine. So part of self-awareness and emotional intelligence is being able to forgive. Forgiveness is a big, big thing. And we have to forgive ourselves too. And I think a lot of times we're hardest on ourselves. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that with me. That really touched me this morning. I appreciate that. It is at the top of the hour. I am super stoked, guys, that I'm going to see my Puerto Rican, Texas family. So that will be, let's see, Ashley, because her husband's gonna make me eggs Benedict Saturday morning. I originally was flying in on Saturday, and when Ashley said he's making eggs Benedict, I changed my flight to fly in on Friday. Hope Aaron still makes that. Then I'm hanging at the lake with Jean and Susan. Gonna be at Build in Dallas, and then headed off to Florida to take the Build cruise with Veronica Figueroa, sorry. But all these things were on my vision board, and so much is it showing up. So let's see. I gotta just confirm our speaker for next week. Who wanted
And
to?
before you do that, you're going to see Stacy and Stacy in Dallas too.
Are you going
Oh,
to
we're
Bill?
both coming? Yay!
Yeah, we're both coming.
Woo! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Hey,
So
Peg,
next I'll be at the lake doing Wake Up Wednesday, and then I'll see you guys on Thursday. I think it's Thursday and Friday of that week. Oh, that you guys just made my day. I know I'll see Kevin and stuff. I know I'm seeing Ashley a couple of times. Guy, am I going to see you? Will you be there? Tucker? Oh my gosh, that's great. And then we're going to shower Ashley with a baby shower, which is exciting. Last time I was there, I threw her the baby reveal party. Not that it's about me, but here's my schedule, Ashley, and you can only have your baby shower on this day. So you guys are the best. You help me so much. You have no idea what I get from this call. Every single week, you make me a better person. I hang up and cry a lot of times from these calls. You need me, I'm here. Y'all have my phone number. You know how to get a hold of me. And I just thank you.
Peg, for next week, you don't have Carrie?
I hope I have Carrie. I need to confirm with her. She should be.
I thought you were asking who's going to speak next week.
No. I'm going to be at the lake. I said, yeah, we've got a lot of people coming up. Yesterday, Ben Kinney's going to speak. We've got Leo going to speak. We have got great people coming on to speak. So give me your connections. Give me the people that you know. Show up in those rooms. You deserve a seat at that table.
So Carrie is speaking on AI. And
On
so
AI, I need to confirm with her today. Yes, she should be. We had that down for a couple of weeks now. So I don't know. Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, guys.
everybody, thank you.
Janet, maybe I'll come to the vineyard. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Let's see. I'm just going to hang up with everybody. I hate hanging up
Yes,
today.
Peggy, it's okay. I'm trying to hit my leave button. It doesn't work. So there we go. Bye, Peggy.
Bye.